Is Bitcoin going lower before it can make a new all-time high? That's what I want to cover today because we have very clear evidence, very clear price structures that are, giving us a lot of good reasons. That's convincing me that we can see a little bit of some lower prices before we can see all-time highs being tested, which of course is the blue line up here just over 109K. But to get up there, let's talk about it, right? What has to happen for us to be able to get up there and make a new all-time high and finally break over 110K? Now, it's just there's a lot of positive news, and there's a lot of articles throwing out there really really big numbers, positive numbers, of course having to do with inflows, the ETF inflows for Bitcoin. And I'm not really going to cover that because at the end of the day, inflows and outflows just represent whatever price we already seen, or the price action we already seen. We know Bitcoin has been going up, so of course those numbers are going to be great. Those articles are really just to, in my opinion, create hype and FOMO to push the price higher to, of course, um, you know, capitalize on some higher prices due to, just in my opinion, just the agenda, the news media, push out there. But what I want to go over is the actual price structure and what Bitcoin is at least telling me is more likely. And I'm going to tell you guys also what I have been looking at and what I've been thinking about Bitcoin as I've been watching the price fluctuate throughout the day. So I've been watching the price very, very closely. And on last night's video, I said, you know, um, I wouldn't be surprised. We were trending down, and I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised. But ideally, I would like to see the price go into the orange, which it did last night. And I said, well, we made a lower high from here. We're already very overextended. It's not very wise, in my opinion, to be overly bullish in the short term Bitcoin price when we have such, I said this so many videos, I'm going to say it one more time though, such overextended prices in the short term, when the last time we seen a proper retracement was back here when this imbalance was filled, and the retracement to the fib retracement from this move up, when the dip happened, it filled in that 0.5 very well, properly filled in the retracement, and then from there we started moving up higher. Ever since then, moving up higher, we have not seen a proper retracement within any of these rallies whatsoever. So I've been keeping track of the overall rally from this low right here at 74.6K, all the way up to the high that we've seen so far within this structure, which is 105.5K basically. And I kept saying that it's probably the best way to trade is to just take small long positions with tight stop losses, but only opening these long positions when proper supports have been reached. And of course, looking at the 1 hour chart, in my case, that would be the RSI bottoming out. That would be either previous imbalances or any retracements and extensions being touched, as well as price fluctuating around the 120 moving average is what I'm using to determine when I'm buying and selling. Now, ever since last night, the price did bounce off of this 0.5 line at $102,884 perfectly. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it bounced perfectly off of that 0.5 retracement. And I said, I would like to shave out of my position, sell portions of it as we continue to, if we come higher, and we didn't, but if we come higher and try to reach this resistance line as we get close to it, I would like to sell out of it, especially since the price is pushing back, or at the time I said potentially if it pushes back up into the yellow retracement area, I want to get out as we near the resistance line, just because we do have a little bit of this downtrend beginning where we're seeing these lower highs. Instead of shaving the position, I actually got out of the position completely today during US market hours, because I noticed one thing. Ever since up here we came down, and then we started trending up higher. When I saw this wick come down, I told myself, I'm like, you know what? It looks like it's obviously breaking below this support that we have at the 0.5, 102,884 line. and then we came up higher. We touched the yellow one more time, and then no more positions. I'm all out of short-term long positions. Uh, I was able to get out with a small profit, but I said, if we're, to myself, I said today, since I see the price breaking below this support line, I said, you know what, chances are that bearish momentum is picking up, especially since this dip right here, this candle, the wick coming all the way down to 102,588, couldn't even bottom out the RSI. So I said, if this 1 hour wick coming all the way down couldn't even drop the RSI even close to bottoming out, then I said, you know what, chances are the next high is going to be lower than the previous high, and we're just going to see further confirmation of a downtrend continuing. It's just a little bit too clear to want to be holding on to any longs. And since I am I've been saying this in so many videos, I am looking at the price potentially soon enough coming down into this red area. I think it's very probable before the price comes up and makes a new all-time high and goes much, much higher. I just, it worries me to hold on to any long positions, even if I have stop losses down here, because, as the price attempts to eventually go into the blue area, I said, you know what, I'm not even gonna worry about it too much. I'm gonna get out because there's just too much evidence to want to be overly bullish in the short term, and I'm just gonna wait for prices to come down, especially primarily looking at the RSI and waiting for the RSI to bottom out. Now, in present time, no long positions opened at the moment, or any short-term long positions, I should say, because even though the price came down within the last couple hours, it came down much more. Again, breaking below the 0.5 retracement, and now there's a lot of volume and no bullish confirmation. We have very clear, very clear visuals that, hey, the price is moving down, even with this aggressive, sell-off, these large candles. We are not seeing the RSI bottom out at all as well, just like in this candle right here. So there is a lot of short-term bearish momentum, and I wouldn't be surprised if, of course, we can see short-term fluctuations where the price can jump up from here, try to fill in potential imbalance right here, probably top out somewhere below 103,500 before continuing the downtrend, right? Or it can even come up a little bit but still get rejected at the 103,877 line, because also that's where the 120 moving average is, between this gap right here, between these two retracements. There's a pretty clear gap where the 120 moving average is, and of course it can come up, flirt with the 120 before getting rejected once again by the descending resistance line and pushing down lower. That's a lot I just said, but basically, to sum it up, I'm keeping my trades, or at least my buy signals, very, very simple. As of right now, we do have evidence that a bearish momentum is building, again, due to lower highs being formed, and within the smaller micro structures, we're seeing these micro supports being broken to the downside as well. On top of that, the RSI is also not bottoming out. There is plenty of room for the price to come down a lot more before the RSI bottoms out. So what I'm personally doing, and right now as I'm talking, the price is starting to dip a little bit more. So I'm very glad I got out of the position. But here's the thing, right? What I'm going to do personally, and I think it's a very good way of trading because it involves patience. I'm just gonna, as I'm gonna put it super simple, I'm gonna wait for the RSI to bottom out. Now, if the price comes down to the 0.618 retracement at 102,387, if the RSI has bottomed out in this area, then I may add I might open a very small long position to maybe capture any push up as the price tries to do a little bullish correction before it continues to sell off, to try to capture the fluctuations from the bottom of the retracement, and the difference of price from the bottom to just at the 0.5 retracement. So just percentage wise with Bitcoin, that would just be like a 0.5%. And in my case, as I'm trading leverage ETFs, it will be a 1% difference if I am able to capture this move within the market open hours. But I'm going to leave it as simple as that. I am not interested in holding any long positions, any aggressive long positions in the short term, because I am very, very, convinced that we will continue to see micro supports being broken. We will continue to see prices come lower, and especially if you consider, for example, this is the start. This is the first lower. There's two ways of looking at it. You can either factor in this move, which shows that if there is enough momentum for the price to continue pushing lower and then start pushing the 120 moving average lower. Just this move alone, where the first lower high was made, we can easily see that there's enough, as of right now, momentum to potentially come down and trade below $100,000 once again. You can even, do things a little bit differently, which is this right here, where you can not factor this in, and you can just factor in the first lower low from the moment the price broke below the previous micro support, which is down here, and you follow it up to this swing high following the lower low. It still shows there's enough momentum for the price to easily come down much lower and still trade within the blue area. So this structure is showing to be very bearish at the moment, with the RSI also backing that up. So I'm just gonna be super patient, guys. It's as simple as that. I'm not gonna force any trades. I'm not really gonna take any short positions either, because we're still within the support area right here, the shorter term support area. Even though volume is still pushing the price down a little bit, we're still within this support, and we still haven't even broken below any of these swing lows yet. So I'm not going to be overly bearish either. Instead, I'm just going to wait and continue to wait until the price and the structures give me a very, very obvious sign that, like, hey, it's a good time to start opening up some shorts. Tomorrow when the US market opens, if we're below the 0.618, I'm not going to touch the price at all until it really comes down into this area. I am going to be very, very strict right now because, again, I truly believe the price can come down into this area. So it's just a way to conserve capital. It's just a way to reduce not reduce risk management, but it's a way to practice risk management and reduce any type of hype buying, in my opinion. So that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to be cautious right now, because if I believe the price is going to come down here, of course, with all the reasons backing it up with the lower highs and the RSI, and not having a proper retracement in a while, it's just, it will be very silly of me to start buying now when we're obviously not seeing any bullish confirmation, and instead we're seeing micro supports being broken, and it's very obvious that the price could come down lower. I'm looking. So again, tomorrow I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna see where the price is trading at. If it's below 102K, then I'm just gonna wait for the price to then come down into the blue area before I start accumulating any new short-term long positions. And my stop loss will be within the blue area. It will be just under, or exactly at 97,800, which is just under the 0.618 extension right here. So 97,800 will be my stop loss if I get an opportunity to accumulate longs within this area. And then, of course, as simple as, knowing when to sell, my sell will just be, I'll start shaving positions as simply as when the RSI starts to top out. When the RSI, I still believe the price will come down here, even if we see small supports holding within this area. So the moment the RSI begins to top out, I'll just start shaving positions to lock in some profits and conserve capital. So when the price does come down into this area, if the stop loss gets hit, cool. I'm not going to take much of a hit, especially accumulating as it comes down into this area. My cost basis will be very tight. And if it does hit the stop loss, then I am not accumulating until it comes into this red area. Then I will be actually aggressively accumulating within this red area, because I'm very convinced, and this will be the last thing I show, that we have 3 deep value dips below 80K. We have this move up, which is breaking. It's kind of hard to see with all this stuff on the screen, but All of these resistances within all these structures have just been crushed. And this is just looking a little too similar to this, where we have 3 deep value dips in 2024. We have a move up which crushes all of these resistance within all these structures. And then eventually we have this proper correction, which came to just above the 0.5 retracement within this structure. And then from there, if any of you, when you guys were watching if you guys had been watching during this time, I kept saying like, hey, this is probably a really good area to be a bit more aggressive with Bitcoin within this orange, especially since the red, extension area for lower prices actually overlaps it. I was aggressive. I hope you guys were too, because then next thing you know, we had a really nice pump. The RSI maxed out, good area to start shaving, and then we came down, retested the area one more time before we started pushing at much higher prices. So that's why I'm going to be taking this area very, very seriously, because to see 110 plus Bitcoin, 130, 140, even 150k Bitcoin, which I believe is very possible, personally, we want to see an overall proper retracement, so then the bulls could continue to lead and kick butt, basically. So yeah, just like in 2024, it's too similar for me to not want to take this area very seriously. So I'll be accumulating it very aggressively, but I'll keep you guys updated on any trades I take within this blue, retracement area for this move, because we can see a lot of consolidation within this area, but not just a lot of consolidation. We can see, it's a really good gap where if we're able to find support and just even trade within this area, we can easily have, well over 1% trade within there, locking in some profits, and then any small imbalances and supports and being made in there, it's all just easy 1% in and outs, trading within there until support's broken, and then no accumulating for me until we reach this area. So yeah, guys, I'm short-term bearish on Bitcoin. I'm just not hyped. I'm not easily influenced by the macro news media. I just try to mainly focus on this, because also there's a lot of imbalances here that can, have not been filled yet. And due to, lower highs, it's very possible that we can break this support structure right here within this swing low, come down into this area, try to fill in these imbalances, which will then allow us to have some consolidation, a little bit of support to trade those 1% gaps, and then from there, wait for the price to finally have the break support or break this bottom support line at 97.8k before we can finally start aggressively buying down here. So that's just how I'm approaching Bitcoin right now. I'm being super patient. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.